we're leaving already. No, we're not. We've realised we've forgotten the dog bag, so we're just going to pick that up and then get on our walk. And perfect timing, the rain has started. Today we see if Land's End is as rubbish as we remember from our youth. But first, let's head back a couple of days. Good morning from Trevedra Farm, which is just near Sennen Cove, about 4 miles from Land's End. We got here yesterday. It was pretty foggy and a bit misty, mizzly. So we just had a quick walk down to the beach just to check that out. It's about probably a 10-minute walk. It's quite steep down there. It was fine on the way down. Coming back up was a bit of a pull, but we managed it. And the beach down there is lovely with some big waves, really clear water as well. It's clearing up this morning. There's still some quite low-lying cloud at the moment, but I think the forecast is for it to be dry-ish this morning and raining this afternoon. So we're about to get saddled up and head out for a walk, hopefully to Sennen Cove. Hopefully we'll get that far and then come back and probably hunker down this afternoon. We're drying a few things at the moment, which is why it looks a bit like a Bedouin tent. Well, actually probably a bit more rubbish than a Bedouin tent, but yeah, such is the joys of it being relatively warm, so we haven't had to have the heating on, but getting things quite wet. So yeah, but all good so far. We will go and check out this walk and take you with you. Take you with you, take you with us. We had a quick scout round to see what was open in Sennen Cove before deciding a coffee was in order at the Surf Beach Bar. Dogs are allowed inside, but as it was quite a mild day, we decided to sit out on the terrace. The breakfast menu looked pretty enticing, but it's a good job we restrained ourselves from that, given what we were going to eat for the rest of the day. We had a decent walk around Sennen Cove before being tempted by the Blue Lagoon fish park, principally because it actually had some vegan things on the menu. I had a vegan burger and chips, and Kerry tried out a jumbo sausage. Then we both gave in to the temptation of some ice cream. I told you it wasn't going to be a very healthy day. Suitably stuffed, we headed back towards the motorhome. So the weather has actually held off. It sort of rained a little bit, but only light drizzle. I think that's the good thing about being by the coast, and it's reasonably windy today, as you can probably tell. We've had a really nice walk to Sennen Cove. If the tide's out, you can walk along the beach, which is what we did this morning. The tide's in now, so we've just been along the coastal path which runs up there. It's quite a nice coastal path. It's quite a gentle gradient, sort of up and down a bit. mostly sandy underfoot, so it's actually quite a nice walk. The downside is that whichever route you take, you then have to get up this hill back to the campsite. There's a little bit of coast path that's cordoned off at the moment because it's an adder breeding ground or something. If that wasn't closed, you'd cut off a little bit of the start of the hill, but yeah, for us it's sea level right up to the top there. Not looking forward to it, but we've paced ourselves so far and I'm sure we'll make it. We got back to the motorhome just as the promised rain arrived. It was a good opportunity to hunker down and listen to the rain pattering on the roof, and with those Bedouin blankets still in place, it made a good hidey hole for those of us that hunkered down for a cheeky snooze. Well, we were pretty tired after all that eating and walking all the way back up the steps. Suitably revitalised after a good night's sleep, the next morning we headed off nice and early towards Land's End. We'd both been independently about 20 or 25 years ago, and neither of us had rated it very much, so we were intrigued to see what it was going to be like this time around. If nothing else, it was certainly going to be quieter. We'd both found it really over-commercialised last time we went there, and we thought that things would have got worse in the meantime. However, we were pleasantly surprised. Apart from this small area of commercialisation, it's actually pretty wild, and you don't have to go very far at all to see rugged scenery. Well, good morning from a somewhat blustery Land's End. It's actually relatively mild at the moment, even though it's October, so the hat is just to protect the ears, because as you can see, it is really windy. So a lot of you got quite upset with our video about John O'Groats. I will put a link in the description here, and the perception of us moaning about parking charges. We weren't actually moaning about having to pay, it was the fact that the website boasted that there wasn't a charge, and so it was a surprise to find parking charge signs in the car park. Anyway, we paid up. People don't seem to like it, but anyway, so here we are at the other end of the country, and it's pretty cool here as well. A bit more commercialised than John O'Groats, but actually still quite wild. And we've got an opposite situation here, which the website is very clear that you pay to park. I couldn't find out how much it was, but we knew it was going to be quite pricey, so we've driven down here anyway. It's £7 for 4 hours, or you can stay longer if you pay more. You can pay on the app, which will allow you to extend your stay if you've paid for 4 hours and find that you're spending longer here. So anyway, we're going to have a little walk around. We've seen the signpost, not paying for a picture with that, but obviously if you want to, that's up to you. But yeah, it's quite good so far. It's quite empty because it's only 10 o'clock in the morning, so there's a few other people here, but it actually feels nice and calm. It's amazing really how lucky we've got with the weather. The forecast was for rain when we moved to this campsite here, and oh my god, it was raining like crazy overnight and quite windy, but actually this morning the rain has stayed off, so we've got out straight away to enjoy it. I think it's due to come back a little bit later on. We were thinking of parking at Sennen Cove and walking, but unfortunately the only car park there that accepts motorhomes is shut, presumably for the winter, so we weren't able to do that. So we thought, let's just come here and pay to park here. So we're now going to do the walk in reverse, hopefully. So yeah, I'll just go and catch up with the old doggos. I think Archman has been leaving a calling card at the furthest extreme in the southwest of the country.
As well as things like the first and last, which are a little bit gimmicky, there are also things like a model village, and that is free. Nice to see when quite a lot of the things actually charge. Okay, it's just a model village, but I'll be honest, I've never been to one, so I got quite excited by it.
I think she might have a chihuahua underneath.
And he's... maybe.
We would highly recommend the walk from Land's End to Sennen Cove, or vice versa. It's actually quite an easy walk. The coast path is really nice and quite pleasant underfoot. It doesn't go up and down too much, and it's probably only a 20-minute walk unless you've got a couple of furries with you that want to sniff everything. This windswept lookout point is actually looking for a volunteer to man it.
So we've seen some reviews reckoning these are the worst public toilets in the whole of Cornwall. It's true they're not as good as the ones at the other end of Sennen Cove. The women's, to be fair, is okay. The door locks, there's toilet paper, it's clean enough. The men's apparently isn't so great, but yeah, there you go, going above and beyond to tell you about all these public toilets.
This was actually quite an interesting gallery to have a poke around, and we'd also recommend the lifeboat centre, which is just on the right of this shot. As well as seeing the lifeboat itself, you can also read about rescues that they've undertaken quite recently. By now, the Sennen Cove Cafe was calling, and it didn't disappoint. We had some nice coffees and some lovely food there.
Well, that was a nice refreshing walk. As you can see, the rain did come back in. We've just got back to the moho. Kerry and the dogs are just sitting in there. I'm just going to have a quick look around the shop.
By now, the rain had really set in and we were quite tired from our walk, so we headed back to the campsite and enjoyed a leisurely afternoon. It was to be our last night at Trevedra Farm and our last night in Cornwall. The next morning we packed up our things and hit the road. As the sun had come out again, we decided to make one last stop in Hale so that we could go onto the beach one last time.
So unfortunately it is our last day in Cornwall and we are heading home, but we've stopped off in Hale to have a walk, one last walk on a beach before we set off. We parked in the Harvey's Towns car park as recommended by Billy and Leanne, and we are now heading to the Cove Cafe, which is also one of their recommendations. If you haven't watched their videos, check them out. They are way more adventurous and much cooler than we are.
We absolutely loved our trip to Cornwall and we will be back for sure, probably in the near future. We weren't sure whether it might be a bit shut out of season. That's certainly the experience that we remember from decades ago, but it was completely different this time, with most things being open. We really lucked out with the weather, which helped, but the places were absolutely gorgeous. Lots of nice places, nice shops, nice restaurants, nice cafes, and just generally lovely scenery, lovely beaches, and a thoroughly good experience all round.
So we're finishing off the holiday and probably this vlog in the salubrious surroundings of Taunton B&Q car park. We're just cooking up some dinner and I've just popped in there to see if they had a loo, which they did, and also picked up some AdBlue down there.
As ever, we hope you've enjoyed this video and thanks for watching.